Jamie Goral.
Myself. Thank you, James. Afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's waking up for the last session. If not, I'll have to just speak a bit louder and be a bit more impressive. So it gives me a great pleasure to talk about retail and e-commerce businesses. Special place in my heart for both. I've been lucky enough to have some very, very productive journeys where there's a lot I've learnt and there's a lot of great success that me and client had together. So on retail, I helped a retailer go from 11 to 33 million in 3 years. They also tripled their net profit, and they only went from 11 to 12 shops. That's one extra shop, tripling both turnover and net profit. I'm going to show you today exactly what we did. I also have helped an e-commerce business triple to 90 million in 18 months. Again, with doing the same with net profit. So I'm going to share with you what did we do with that business to get those results. And what I'm hoping is you'll have one or two takeaways from this presentation to take to your clients. Now, what I'm going to share with you is both industry-specific strategies, specific to retail, specific to e-commerce, and strategies you can use in any business. And what we found is the strategies that we introduced that you can use in any business actually had the greater impact than the industry-specific strategies. They still had a effect, but the biggest one was the one that you can apply to anyone, which is great for you. If you're not coaching a retail or an e-commerce, you don't. You can still get a lot from this presentation on any client. So firstly, what's my connection to retail? I grew up in retail. When I was younger, my dad started on the market selling children's clothes, and then he progressed to a shop, and he actually then progressed to 3 shops. So I grew up with, in the market, setting up the stall, customer service, selling, customer complaints, how to deal with them. So it was my early education on the retail side. What's also great now for me is that it gives me enough opportunity to remember my father, because he passed away 2 years ago from Parkinson's disease. So that's my connection with retail. 20 odd years I was in that industry, living and breathing it, seeing all the problems, also celebrating some of the successes. So how did I get exposure to e-commerce? I've got to thank my client, George Maressa. Now, I'm not sure if you saw the podcast with George and James Vincent about a year ago. He was a client of mine. He grew his business, he tripled his business, and at the same time he managed to reduce his hours from 12-hour days to 4-hour weeks. And a lot of the strategies that we used in that business we then used for the e-commerce business, which was a lot of his clients were in e-commerce. And he introduced me to a number of the clients that I then got to work with, including the one that tripled to 90 million when I worked with them. And the way I got to meet them was really simple. He said to me, I've got a talk coming on for these e-commerce businesses, and can you just share with them what you did with us? I think they'll benefit. I shared it, and then a couple of clients came my way. And most people in the room were over 10 million. It was like 10 to 60 million, all different industries. So it was a really inspiring experience to work, that George got me involved in that particular business. So who else have I coached in this particular industry? Well, there's a number of e-commerce businesses I've coached, all in different industries within e-commerce. So you get to feel for the pattern and the different trends and behaviours you get. Also, there's a lot of these clients as well are in different countries as well. So I got to experience working with foreign clients, which is really, really good. So, and the stories I'm going to share with you today that you can use with your clients will be coming from these businesses and more, and also what I learned from growing up with retail. So this is the strategy that work best in all of those businesses that you can utilize with your clients in any industry that I'm going to share with you that had the greatest impact with those businesses. How I'd wish that Mikel Arteta would have used that with Arsenal on Saturday. So firstly, how do we unleash the brilliance of the team to get that growth rate? The first thing you can do that people have alluded today, I think Phil alluded to it and Sarah alluded to it, you've got to get rid of the incompetent employees or those with a bad attitude. They are hindering everyone. They are making the good people leave. And you have to work really hard with your client's mindset and their fears to make sure they at least take the first step of at least getting rid of the first bad employee. Then you help them with the comms and you help them with everything else. So that's the first thing. Coach them on how to make them aware of what's the worst that can happen. And then once they get rid of the first one, what you'll see is suddenly all of the fears never happened. And everything's better. And then and the next one is an easier coaching session to go through that. And then they see all things happen. Productivity goes up, ideas flow, etc. Next point is delegation. What I found with these businesses, they're all over 4 million, is they've done really well to get to 4 million or 10 million or 15 million. So they've done something good. What are they not doing? And there's a common pattern. They're just not delegating properly. They don't really know how. They've got superhero syndrome. They're not confident about the employee. They can't see the magic in that employee, or they don't know how to tweak their style to the individual. So delegating at every level. Do things like the skill fund matrix. Look at their time. But not only them, if you're in a business that's quite big, then get the owners to do it, but then get every manager to do it and make them accountable for how many hours can you lose, who to, and what's the profit growth of your department by doing that from the new work that you replace. Another thing is, once you've got good people on board and you've got rid of the bad ones, how do you inspire those people to make them stay longer and be more motivated? The biggest game changer I've seen in this is a development plan. Work with them and say, what do you want to be in 3 years? Talk about the job title, talk about the pay, and then show them, work with them on milestones every 3 to 6 months on how they can get there, including their own learning that they have to do to show that they're good enough and show they've got the commitment. This was a game changer. There were people that were problems suddenly became to really, really good performers because they felt they had a journey to go on that they wanted to go on, reaching a destination they wanted to go, and they feel they were being looked after. And also when the business also invested in training, that also added the support. Next thing that worked really well, and I'm going to show specific examples of this, of the type of things we looked at for both e-commerce and retail. Getting department heads to do their own 90-day plan. They come up with the ideas. They present it to their boss. The boss reviews it and just gives feedback. So they are implementing their plan that they've come up with the ideas. Not being dictated to, not being driven. Again, that's the game changer. Especially if you reward them for the success, because you're rewarding them for something they've achieved, their idea. It's double the motivation. Line meetings, something I brought to ActionCOACH about 10 years ago. Game changer. Every client I introduced it to within 6 weeks is wow, they've had a transformed business. Line meetings make sure that the 90-day plans that the department heads have made on track are on track. It also gives a voice for employees to talk to their boss and be heard. I make the business owner make every manager accountable for how they're freeing up their time, how the issues are being minimized through the line process. So we end up with the most efficient, productive workforce there is. In order to make sure that the 90-day plans are on track and the line meeting effective, defining KPIs for every single team member to show where they're on or off, teaching them how to create them, how to read them, how to spot issues, how to stop opportunities, and come up with the solutions themselves. It's really powerful. So many businesses that don't have adequate KPIs are missing things that will bite them eventually. So which books help get this behaviours? Now, I've probably read or listened to about 40 management books. These are the ones that consistently have the strategies and the concepts and the habits that get those results. If you want to grow your business, get better results, and get better traction in bigger businesses, I'd literally internalise all of those 5 books. You will see a big change in your confidence, the conversations you have with the bigger businesses, and also the results that you get. And you'll also change lives, because you're turning owners into having a better business and their team having better careers, all at the same time. So that's the specific strategies relating to team that relates to every business, including the ones I'm going to coach. I'm now going to go more specific. We're going to go more specific on the team side, but also more specific on other strategies. So with this retailer, they had 11 shops when I started working with them, and it went to 12 within the 3 years. So one of the things we did to get the team more productive is we introduced the monthly shop manager performance meeting. So what did we do? So firstly, a manager would have their numbers of the current month and the prior month, unless there was a seasonality issue. They had to explain a major variance. So why was sales down? Why is your staffing cost gone up? Why is wastage gone up? They had to come to their peers explaining that. Now we managed to coach the owner to make sure that meeting had a very good balance between support and challenge, to make sure it was done the right way, there was no beat-ups. It was there as a forum for accountability and sharing best practice. Similar to what we do here on the sharing back practice. When you've got 11 shops, there are some things that one shop will do better than others, another one will do worse. A lot of them don't even realise. If they're talking about it and brainstorming, you end up with best practice from the knowledge base of the entire business shared and corrected. And the motivation levels is, and also the partnerships. When this practice happened, we found that people having meetings offline to help the implementation, it just really pushed the teamwork through the roof. The other thing was the accountability. Again, they set their 90-day goals. They might have a 90-day goal on turnover. They might have a 90-day goal on wastage. They might have a 90-day goal on the staff percentage of turnover. So we get them to set their 90-day goals. We challenge them if we didn't think they were the right ones to have the biggest impact. It took about 3 or 4 90-day cycles to get it right, but the fact is, it was all about turning up, participating, and seeing improvement. But over a 3-year period, the results were dramatic. And we encouraged people to ask questions. There was silence for the first few meetings, but we talk people about challenging with respect, the concepts in Yet Radical Candor, learning, working together, and it just produced dramatic results quickly and really helped the culture as well. Talked about culture, this helps the culture. Very simple, practical tool. So I'm going to share with you now the type of report that we shared to help see the numbers and get people. It's a type of report. I've replaced the numbers to protect client confidentiality, but this is the kind of thing that people were looking for. We had a report for someone would come up as the manager of shop one and say, explain why things are up and down. So they had to find out why things were up and down. There was meetings going on to understand because they knew they were going to present to their peers and the owner. We also then had other sheets where we looked at certain percentages of conversion percentage or average sale with different shops, and where someone was doing better, we'd get them to share how they got it better, looked at the reasons why, so all of the shops knew. In addition to that, there was a few additional reporting to identify issues that were probably going to bite us in the backside in about 6 months. So the first thing was slow-moving stock. In retail, obviously you've got moving stock which is perishable, things that go off quickly and the things that aren't. But they're still occupying shop space, and all of the things eventually do go off, so it's really analysing to make sure what's not selling, why is it not selling, is it people don't want it anymore, is it in a bad position in the particular shop? So it's really looking at that, and also helping with our decisions on suppliers and introducing new product. Again, there was a target, so gross profit we had for certain products. We wanted to make sure, using the reporting on the EPOS system, exactly which ones were lower or higher and why they were higher. Sometimes there's an error on the data entry, but we had to fix that because all the reports were showing everyone was wrong and we'd end up with not making the right decision. So we did that not only for, is there a business issue, but is there a data entry issue, or is the system not generating the right information? The other thing was variance by department. The turnover might be high or low, but if it's high and you sit there going everything's great, you might be wrong. It might be that it's high overall, but actually frozen foods are down. So we need to know that, because that could just get worse and we end up with a problem in a few months. So as well as looking at the overall, we'd look at different departments for the for each shop. So we've shown the metrics we looked at the team participation. I'm now going to share with you the strategies to improve for each metric. Now, 98% of these came from the team, not me. I helped them with a framework of this environment to do that, because they know better than me. They're sitting there living it and breathing it. When I started, I was trying to advise them, but I realised I actually was not giving them the best advice. But the advice from them was better, so I then learned to shut up. So what kind of things did I come up with to improve each metric? Well, boosting footfall. The biggest one was when we introduced the loyalty card to this business. What we tested with some good success, we found patterns of shoppers who would come in for the same basket of goods every week, more or less, and then stop. So what we decided to do is, if someone stopped for a period of time, we tested different things, 1 month, 2 months, we sent them an offer for one of the things that they bought. And we found that 35% of them came back. I've seen other shops do this. I think Charles Tyrwhitt do it as well. They do that thing. They notice if you've not bought for a while, they send you an offer. Really, really powerful. Also, if you analyse the type of things they buy and there's a new product line, you can send them an offer for that as well. I just found that really works for footfall. So what other things are there? So sampling an event. So there was a local market that they'd have a stall at, sampling food. They'd have people outside with sausage rolls on a Friday, etc., getting people to taste it and getting people to come into the shop. Some people would see it there and walk past and not go in, and it's just a way of interacting. Displays and signage, especially with offers outside, so to invite people in for a particular thing, especially if you had an event there like a tasting, or you had like a special offers on, or there was some event going on in store. That would help. And the community engagement we talked about, they'd sponsor local charities, they'd go there, their brand would be everywhere, and also they'd also have some food samples as well. So that's footfall, the loyalty cards we just mentioned. So I'm interested in conversion. So this is when they're in store. How do you get people to spend more buying things they would like but just didn't know or needed reminding of? So the first thing is to do with the staffing, and it's to do with the conversations they have with the shop, with the customers. So being attentive, asking people if they need help. A lot of things are very, very obvious. What questions can we ask particular clients to help them more and make them aware of particular items they wanted but didn't know existed? Product sampling recommendations. Again, I know we've had it down for footfall, but when it's in store as well, this relates to conversion. They're in there anyway. People are eating it. You could make it easy for them to buy, and they buy. And the store layout. So one of the tricks that a lot of food retailers do is they put the milk and bread at the back, because you have to walk through the shop to get there, and then walk through everything else and see all the signs and the marketing to then buy it. Another thing that they also do as well, at the till, it's very strategic. What you put at the till, it's high margin items, impulse buy items as well. Also, there's more sales of things that are eye level. So you strategically decide what's going to be at eye level, what's going to have the impact on the profitability of the business. So how do we increase average spend in a retail store? So bundling is really effective. I remember my dad did this when he sold cots, prams and buggies. They'd have a deal. You pay a certain price, you get the cot, the pram and certain things. They do it here. You buy the 2 or 3 things together, you end up with a discount. It means that what can sometimes happen is it means someone will try something new that they would never have tried. They like it and then they buy it again. The loyalty, again, it relates to the conversion, but it also rates average spends. People buy more. Suggestion selling, again as well, is also useful for this particular strategy. Deal boards and large baskets. So yeah, the bigger the basket, generally the bigger the average spend, because people see they've got enough space to put something else in it. And there's been some testing and measuring on that, and it does work. That's a way of increasing average sale. Big one here is wastage and improving stock turnover. So what do we do to do that? So buying well. So have good forecasting models. You can never get it exact, but you can minimize the wastage by having good models. When do people buy, seasonality, certain things that are going on. Clearance, when you've got items about to go off, make sure everyone's all over it, reduced, near the till, etc., etc. And also some marketing to reduce stock. Come tomorrow, last day, it's going to be at this price. Again, just display and monitoring to make sure if you are reducing stock that it's really clear to people that it's at a reduced rate, here it is, buy it now. And incentivise staff. A lot of them incentivise on the gross profit of the store or the net profit of the store. But what you can do, if you find that wastage is not being addressed, because maybe it's not hitting them so bad, you can spike the commission scheme so it favours wastage reduction in a particular month if it's a concern and it's building up. Staff costs, how do we reduce those as a percentage of turnover? So scheduling, making sure that you looked at the ratio of how many staff do you need. There's models of you pay people more, you slightly understaff so you get more competent people. That can work. I think Lidl do that. And looking at the peaks and troughs. So when you've got an EPOS system, you know by day, by hour, you know exactly how many people are there. So you make sure that in a low peak that people aren't sitting around. One good technique you can do that the owner used to do is looking at the CCTV cameras and just seeing how often people are just being idle. Because potentially if we got the staffing wrong, or is it just an anomaly that Monday morning's normally busy, but today it's a bit busier. Cross training and please is good. You can have lower staff if you've got people that can be on the deli, be on the till, be in the warehouse. It helps with the staffing and also helps with the recruitment as well to make sure that you're never short-staffed and you don't overstaff. Part-time staff as well, especially at weekends during busy times. So it means that you can minimise your staff cost percentages using that. And productivity metrics, looking at when you're having a line meeting with the individual shop member, looking at what they've done, what they've not done. Would they say the right percentage of the time on the till, in the warehouse? Was anything not being done? Were they being productive in relation to the store profitability? So that's what I'm going to share today on retail. The main thing that really worked best was that manager shop meeting and the accountability through line meetings throughout the business. I think it surprised me how much profit and turnover grew if you can just get by doing that. So we're now going to switch gears to e-commerce. So e-commerce is generally a number of channels. The first one we're going to look at is Amazon. So one thing I learned from George Mercer, who was an Amazon PPC agency, and also when I got to work with his clients as well, is that I've never seen an industry like the Amazon seller industry be so sharing with their own competitors. I was in a room of people that potentially were competitors sharing so many things that some people might even see as commercially sensitive. So the first thing, if any Amazon seminar, look at all the conferences, go to them, learn and network and get relationships, ask questions, etc. Because it changes so much. The buy box is a must. It's the featured offer section. Now I'm going to show in the next slide what that is and how you get there, but appearing in it is a must. 80% of the sales of a particular category go through the buy box. If you're not there, you're effectively invisible. Amazon are ruthless. If there's issues, if there's a complaint, if you're out of stock, they turn you off very quickly. You've got to be very, very responsive. They are ruthless on their customer service. They are ruthless with their sellers. In order to be featured and to get good sales, there are some obvious things I'm going to put here, just going to make it totally complete. You also need eye-catching images, and you also need first-class copy. A lot of those Amazon sellers now are using Claude to help them, not copy and paste Claude, but good prompting, get it, and editing, but just to help get more productive and get some ideas on what's copy that would entice people to buy that are relevant. But having a real drive for reviews as well. The higher the reviews, the higher you get ranked on Amazon, the more sales you get, and everything's in a good place. The other thing that a lot of clients use, especially when they use they launch a new product, is Amazon Ads and DSP. Amazon Ads is like Google Ads, If you've got if you sell like a vitamin D supplement, you can be shown for vitamin D supplement at the top where it says sponsored ads. DSP works differently. DSP is this demand side platform. What it will do is if you sell like a supplement for vitamin D, it will look at the database of all of the people that buy on Amazon to see who's like into health and fitness, and it will show that ad to that person all over the internet, websites, posts, etc. So it's almost like a little bit like retargeting and Facebook ads, but for Amazon. Very powerful. Also now going on shopping channels as well, like the Fire Stick. So it's another type of advertising you can do to grow your Amazon sales. Some clients in this industry, they use repricing software. What that basically does is you might set it like you're always going to be 1p cheaper than your competitor that sells the same as you. By doing that means that you'll rank higher and you'll potentially get more sales. So this is the buy box. So when you go on Amazon, you look for a particular product. The thing on the top right-hand corner there is the buy box. It's the thing that's shown first. That particular seller is going to get priority vision, and 80% of the sales go through that way. So how do you actually win that buy box? Win basically means appear on it maybe 80% of the time. Quick resolution to negative comments. You've got to minimize stock outs. It's a balancing act. Amazon charges a lot of money for holding stock, but being able to stock out has a negative review, so you want to make sure that you're the right side. Anything slightly overstock, I found, depending on the gross profit margin, but generally overstocking slightly is better than being out of stock. One thing Amazon looks as well is the conversion rate between the impressions, people looking at the page, and number of people that buy. And if you're higher up than your direct competitor, they'll put you higher, and then if you're at the top, you'll have that buy box. And price matching identical lines. If only is equal and you're like a penny cheaper, you have a greater chance of getting that particular buy box. Again, not being late. So if you're out of stock because the delivery's not arrived in time, something to minimize, the best thing you can do is use Amazon FBA. That's fulfilled by Amazon. It's basically where you send all your stock to Amazon. They do all of the logistics. Best logistics business in the world. Most of my clients that do really well use that. You can also get them to do logistics for the sales that you have on your other websites as well. They do for Shopify websites as well as Amazon sales as well. And again, they look to win the buy box. Having a lower cancellation rate is also a factor they take into consideration when deciding who's going to rank there. Okay, so we've done the Amazon side of things. The next thing is the Shopify website. Some people use Shopify for their website. Some people use WooCommerce. There's a few others as well. But what I found in the room that I was in with about 50 people that sold e-commerce, 90% of them said Shopify was the best. And one or two that weren't on Shopify actually ended up switching after hearing what people said. But again, technology changes. That might be different next year. So it's an industry where things change so much. So how do you get good sales from your shopping website in e-commerce? You've got to employ the best media buyers on Meta Ads Google. Is that better? Okay, thank you. You can't hear me? Do I just talk louder? Never been a problem so far, talking louder. Is it battery?
It's your charisma, Jamie.
You get an upgrade mid-presentation, eh? I'm feeling privileged. One of the common traits of these successful e-commerce owners is they are brilliant at either Amazon advertising, Amazon ads, etc., getting the images right, the copy right, or they're brilliant at media buying on Meta, Google Ads, and TikTok. Brilliant. They start that way. And they're at a level where they are better than probably any agency that do the same. So the way they invest their money is paying top money for the top people, because that's one of the key differentiators, is being really clever with this, being up on all the changes, and it changes a hell of a lot. The right mix, being aware of new shopping channels that come on. That's a real game changer. So anyone working with e-commerce, get the best, pay the best, you get the return. And if you don't, you can end up with a situation where the product that would have sold might not sell. Influencers. This has massively grown in the last few years. I've actually also got a client that's an influencer marketing agency as well. The people that own maybe 10 or 15 million turnover in e-commerce have got a dedicated influencer manager team where they are searching for influencers that can promote their product on their TikTok or their Amazon. They look for criteria of a certain number of followers, not too many, not too few, and the right target market, and giving them incentive to, or pay them a fee to talk about their project, and then measure results, as in when did it go live, was there a spike? So they make sure they get the metrics right as well as looking at the spikes. And often the results are immediate. You can see like an 80% growth within an hour of someone talking about the product compared to what the normal average was for that day and that month. It's really impactful. Again, as with Amazon, you've got to have eye-catching as a first-class copy, otherwise no one's going to buy or even understand what it's for. Reddit. AI seems to, at the moment, this could be obsolete in 5 minutes, seems to use Reddit as a way of confirming whether a product is good or bad. So a lot of e-commerce businesses get their teams to actively talk on Reddit, contribute on Reddit, get people they know to talk on Reddit, see what the conversation is about. Again, that could change next month, but at the moment that seems to be quite key. And again, you need 4 or 5-star reviews for Amazon. You also need them on Google, because if people don't know your products, the first thing they have to see is it any good or not. So that's how to grow Shopify website sales. The other thing, so that's obviously the advertising side, is growing the brand. Takes a number of years, lots of posting, lots of images, lots of partnerships, and then you'll see the organic sales grow, something you need to track. And then the more you do that, everything's easier. If the organic sales grow, the brand is bigger, the amount you spend on advertising is less, everything wins. But it does take a couple of years, and it does need lots of posting on all of the right platforms that are relevant for that particular business. What's interesting is, from what I've learned from my e-commerce clients, is TikTok used to be for the under 30s. It's now almost every age group now are using it. So even people that have particular products that are for the 50s, even 60s, are using TikTok and getting results. As well as Shopify, keep an eye on the other shopping channels, test and measure those, they come and go. But at the moment, these are the ones that my clients are using. TikTok Shop seems the biggest one. There's also something called Live, where it's almost like a QVC thing that people are testing. So these are the other channels. So in the retail business, I talked about the monthly shop meeting as well. We also did one for the e-commerce business. So I'm going to talk about how that was different to the retail business. Again, a manager, it was different. It wasn't a shop manager. You'd have head of product, you've had head of product development, you've had head of Amazon sales, you'd have head of Shopify sales, head of affiliates. Again, having a 90-day plan, talking about the actual versus budget, their KPIs, were they higher or lower to the team. Get that set 90-day goals to compare against. So the same format, and this is why you can use it in any business. We did it in retail, we did it in e-commerce, and the results were dramatic. 30 to 90 million in 18 months is really, really big. And you saw from the other clients as well, I've replicated at least like 30, 40% growth a year in all different industries within e-commerce using this exact format. And again, we're teaching managers to learn from each other, to share best practice. Even though it's someone doing something different, there might be something you learn. Because if you're doing influencer marketing, you've got someone doing Amazon ads. The Amazon ads person is almost like an outsider to that department that might spot something. So where it's different in retail, where it's a shop manager doing the same thing, the other person can have the outsider perspective. So we talked about the meeting. I just want to show you the kind of headings on a dashboard that each department head used to show visibility of results, accountability results, and also to help them decide what was going to be the goals in the next 90-day plan. So they had the overview one as well, where people would just talk about, what was higher or lower and why it was higher or lower. Amazon sales. One of the things there you've got is TACOS and ACOS. So ACOS is Amazon cost of sales, which is Amazon, the amount you spent on Amazon versus the Amazon sales. And TACOS is total advertising cost of sales, so that's the cost of the Amazon sales versus the total turnover. So I'll be responsible for meeting a certain target on that they set themselves and is confirmed by a manager. So again, we talked about the buy box, but it's also you need a buy box dashboard. If 80% of the sales are going to be on the buy box, what's the dashboard? So these are the kind of thing that we'd have in the meeting to look at what was going well. Were we good on the stock? Were we good with our customer service? How were we pricing? So it just shows, this kind of thing to keep people alert. And again, a dashboard for Shopify to make that particular manager or director or senior manager accountable. Influencers, make them accountable for what are they spending, what's the revenue, how many content pieces are we getting for that spend, what's the average, why is it certain influencers charging more than others, are they justifying that by their reach, the number of followers they have. Again, make them accountable, choosing the right people, getting the right terms and getting the right return. Again, a dashboard for TikTok Shop, for the person that manages that in that business. One for customer service, because customer service is linked to reviews, it's linked to complaints. It's massive, especially on Amazon. If you're not got someone good on that, you could almost close the business down. It's more ruthless in this department than any other business I've seen. Product development. E-commerce changes so much. If you get a product that does well, there's a good chance Amazon will notice it and copy it and charge less, and also promote them above you. So the clients that last the longest, grow the quickest, are the ones that have their own product development department. Someone's responsible for doing research, ChatGPT, Claude, also there's reports on Amazon showing what people search for where there's not the right product, or they look at an existing product and try and better it. The DIY company I showed you at the beginning, No Cry, this guy was brilliant at that. He'd buy, remember he said he bought a glove for gardening, and he made it more knife-proof than the top brand. Because he looked at it and thought, it kind of gets there, but there's still people going to be cut. So he just found the way of making it more knife-proof, and he got himself the buy box 80% for several months. So you need people on there looking to invent new things and doing research and testing things, having their own process to maximize success of getting a result, having good focus groups to test the product and getting a very good ratio of what we're spending on product development and what's the profitability for the new products. Absolutely crucial in this business. Again, additional reporting, similar to the retailer. Same thing, slow-moving stock, because sometimes this can isolate errors, data entry errors, system errors, which can basically make all your decisions wrong. But again, variances by department to make sure each person is accountable and they know what their variances are, what's good, what's not good. So when they do 90-day plans, they're prioritising the right things. That's what we're going to cover today. So James, have I got time or not?
Yeah, we're going to do some questions. I've got the first question for you, actually. I'll just project it out. I've got the first question for Jamie, right? So everyone's going to get these slides, by the way. I've seen even Santander, WorldPay, taking Furious amount of note. You can have all these slides too, all right? This is best practice of what we do. The dashboards that you create with clients.
Yeah.
Do you do that one by one, a bit at a time, or do you do it all at once? What happens?
Okay, so it depends on the competency of the client. But normally in e-commerce, what I found with e-commerce, when you get to that level, they've almost created their own one. I've looked at it and just asked a couple of questions. But normally, you'll get the owner to have a meeting with the influencer marketing manager, do their dashboard, have a separate meeting with the product development team, do their dashboard. And it's normally something like, we've got a dashboard, what do you think we should measure? Okay, anything else, anything else? Come back next week with a dashboard with some metrics. That's the process we use, but yeah, one at a time is your answer to your question.
All right, so you come back week 2 with the metrics, what do you do next?
Sorry?
What do you do when they come back with the metrics?
You look at them and you ask a question if you think A, are they the right metrics, and B, are they right? First time, there's going to be some errors, systems, etc. So you want to validate that they're actually right. And then the next thing you say is, what's that telling you? Especially if you've got 2 weeks numbers and something's up or down, you just say, why is it up, why is it down? And you expect them to know. But if they don't know, because it's the first time, you ask them to find out between now and the next meeting. And then you get into the cycle. This is the metrics. We're happy that these are the best ones to spot the issues and the opportunities. It's up or down, and they, in a future meeting, when they have got it, they'll get the reason, and then they'll take action. And when you've got this happening with hundreds of team members everywhere, that's where you end up with tripling the business to 90 million. It's the cumulative effects of all of these things.
Let me just capture something you said right at the start of that. When he looks at a dashboard, any dashboard, irrespective if it's the ones that he's seeing here, first question, worthwhile writing down if you're a coach here, guys. Are these the right metrics that we're measuring? First question. Second question, write it down again, just so that you remember this, put a box around it, so because this is so simple, it's gold dust for coaches. Are they right? Are they the right numbers? You don't move on until we're measuring the right things and there's accuracy, because the job is accuracy, isn't it?
Yeah. If it's the wrong numbers, you'll have the wrong decisions and end up going backwards.
Yeah, forgive us playing dumb and digging deep here.
No, great.
This is how Jamie works. We're operating in Jamie's head here. All right, so get the right numbers, make sure the numbers are correct, and then ask a bunch of questions.
Yeah. Why is this up or down? Let them tell you. Let them find out.
Just a second for your notes. Step number 3. Why is this up or down? Just a second for your notes. Step number 4. Shut up. Why is this up or down? Then don't say anything. He had us a little small pause at the end. All right, then next, Jamie, take us through step number 5.
Well, that's really it. And then it's a question of looking at these metrics. What are your goals for your next 90-day plan?
Keep it simple, guys. Right, we've got room for a couple of hands-up questions. Has anyone got any questions in the room? Because there's a lot of information in there, and you're getting all of the slides anyway. We've got a hand up from a WorldPay gentleman at the back, or Santander. I'll run to you. You've been working out a bit, haven't you, sir? Hey, Martin?
Just a tight t-shirt.
Not going to mess with him.
I haven't. Look, really interesting presentation. Thank you. I really enjoyed the retail piece around staff engagement and how the business was looking to develop staff and bring them into the business on what the business is doing, performance and everything else. I'm really interested in how you measure engagement, i.e. staff day one versus staff at a later date, and that development piece and that concentration on development. How would you go about measuring that? And did that have a noticeable impact on retention of staff and the quality of staff?
Great question, thank you. Yeah, so
Thank you.
several parts. Number one, the line process, it forces everyone to have a one-to-one meeting with every team member where the employee writes down what they're committing to, what the issues are and opportunities from that. So that's step one. Are those meetings happening? And are ideas happening and being heard? And are there any issues that are reoccurring? So that's step one on engagement. Step two, when they come to the meeting, are they coming, and B, are they contributing? And are ideas being heard, and are they being implemented? So those generally cover the staff engagement. If that's happening, generally you've got good engagement. And the last point relates to just keeping staff engaged is, where are they going to be in 3 years? Is that the job they want? Do they know the milestones they need to get there? And do they feel supported in that journey?
Can I make a comment on this? Martin, good question as well. So LION framework, just for anyone in the room, LION stands for this. This is a meeting that happens once a week. And it goes LION. What happened last week shows the numbers. First part. I is issues. What are the issues that we're dealing with? There's an issues list in all of the businesses. O is opportunities, and N is what are we going to do in the next week. Question on the LION format. What impact has LION format had on supporting staff?
Supporting staff?
Supporting them, yeah.
Okay, so one of the agenda items is issues, and the structure is their issues first. So you're forcing every manager to listen to their staff issues. It's in an agenda on an item that's checked. So often it's the first time they've felt heard. And some of the feedback I get from new clients is, how is this team member you're about to fire? I couldn't believe it. They've transformed. Why? They said to me it's the first time they've felt heard.
There you go, guys. And on that point, give him a hand, please. Jamie Goral, thank you very much, sir. All right, 60 seconds, guys. A little bit of gentle music. Make some notes for yourself. We've got 60 seconds, then we're turning this round.